Hello guys, welcome back to Modern Web. In today's video we will be continuing our e-commerce series. This is the third part of it. I already uploaded two parts before. If you haven't watched those videos, make sure you watch them first before continuing this video because we will be continuing that code. So in this video we will be making the ad product page and the dynamic product pages. So yeah, the video of today will be a lot more fun. By the way, you can download the source code from the description. So without wasting more time, let's get started. Let's see the demo. So in the last video we made the dashboard and the login sign up page, and in today's video we will make this ad product page. You can see we have this beautiful ad product page where we can edit and upload the image. You can see I'm getting the pop-up, and if I upload any of this image and add it, I'm getting the image right here, and on the right side I am getting the inputs for my data related to the product. I can add the product name, I can add the short description, I can even give the pricing, I can add the details and the tags and whatnot. And yes, they do have form validations also. So yeah, and at last we can add the product or save the draft. We can do any of the things. So let me just add this product after giving the tag. So let me quickly give some text to it, and if I add the product, you can see I'm redirected to the dashboard, and here I'm getting the products that I have made or created in the Firebase. Here I can delete the product, I can edit the product. So I am right now in the edit page, and if I remove the name and save product, you can see I'm getting errors because of form validations. So yes, our form do have form validations, and we can also make drafts. So if I just make a new product and just give it a name, and if I click on save draft, it will make a save draft, and you can see I have a beautiful no image written there. Isn't it beautiful? And we can go to the product page. Well, this page is a dynamic product page listing the product details and the product image. We have the reviews, we have add review section, and at last we have similar product recommendations. You can see I'm getting the lamp, and still I'm getting the other light because those all have same tags. I'm getting a recommendation, and then we have this beautiful search box, and if I search for lights, I'm getting this lights which I have stored in my Firebase database. So yeah, this is pretty much that we are going to create in today's video. So I hope you guys are excited to code this. So without wasting more time, let's get started. And yes, by the way, you can download the source code from the description and also the images used in this code. So yeah, let's start the video. So let's make the add product.html file inside the public folder, and also make a add product.css file along with add product.js file for JavaScript. So make these three files. After done with that, open server.js and let's make the add product route. So use app.get because we want a get request on app product, and here in response send add product.html file. You can copy the above line and paste here and just change the name to add product.html. So if I check the site and click on the add product button, you can see I'm not getting the 404 page now, means I'm getting the add product.html file. Well, that's great. Now let's make the file. Since our add product.html file is very similar to product page, you can copy the product.html file whole and paste inside it, and if I refresh it, you can see our add product page. Great. Here also add product.css file, and remove the unnecessary elements, like we don't need navbar, so delete the navbar. Also delete the review section along with the add review section, and also delete the best selling product section and the footer. Also, instead of importing product.js, import add product.js. So basically this is our add product file. Now we just want it to be editable, right? So yeah, I guess let's change the title first. So change the title to whatever, like add product. After that, inside the body, first let's make a loader element. So make an image element, give it a source loading.gif, and I'm using two dots before the source, so it will not give error when we use nested route. No worry if you didn't understood what I said, we will talk about it later. After the loader, make an h1 element and say it add product. This will be a sort of heading, you can see here. And let's style the element. So open add product.css file and select the body element. I guess give it some padding, 100 pixels from top and bottom, and then select the loader element and set its position to fixed because we want it to stay on the screen. Set its top and left to 50% and set transform translate -50%, -50%. Well, this is a trick to make absolute or fixed position elements at center, and then set width to 100 pixels, z index to 5, and display none to hide the element. Great. Now select the title element and let's give its text align center to make it in the center. Give it some font size, let's say 3 rem, and give it some margin bottom also. Give it some margin bottom, let's say -30 pixels, and yeah, it's looking great. Also, you can give the line height and set its opacity to 0.5. I guess it's looking fine. So after this, we want a alert box because this is a form, so we need an alert. So make a div and give it a class error, and inside it make a p element. So this is our error container. So now let's style it. So copy this class name and paste after the title, and yeah, let's style it. So set its position to fixed because we want it to stay on the screen, and set its top left to 50% and use transform property to make it properly in the center. Also give it the width 200 pixels, and you can give a minimum height to, let's say, 100 pixels, and set its background to white or whatever color you like. Also give it a border radius. Give it a border radius of 10 pixels. You can see round edges, and yeah, you can also give some padding to it, let's say 20 pixels from all four sides. Set its font family to Lato sans serifs because we want it to more readable, and set its transition to 0.5 seconds, so it will take some transition in popping out and popping in. Set its font size to 1 rem and give it a line height of, let's say, 1.2 rem. I hope you know all these CSS properties. Well, these are basic ones, but if you do not know any of these, you can ask me in the comments. I'll be glad to tell you. So after setting up text align centers, set text transform capitalized to make the first letter capital, and then give it a color, let's say this reddish, hexacode, and then set align item center and display flex and justify content center. Well, this is a properties of flexbox to make the content in the center. I hope we are done with the error. So now set its opacity to 0 and set its pointer event to none. So pointer event will remove all the mouse interactions and opacity will hide the element. Also give a 1 pixel border. We can't see it because its opacity is 0. Great. Now I guess we need a image upload. For image upload, first delete this image element, and instead of this image element we will make the upload input here. So you can comment also. After this, make a div and give it a class, let's say image upload container. So this container will contain the upload input and the image. So first make an input element and set its type to file. Give it a id, let's say upload image, and the accept attribute will allow what files should be accepted, and in this case I am setting a png or a jpeg. So in only png or jpg file is acceptable, and hidden attribute will hide the input. After that, make an label element and set its for to upload image, which is the id of the upload input, and give it a class whatever you like. I am giving it upload overlay. And after the label, make a image element, delete the source and alt attribute, and simply give it a class like product image. Yeah, so you can see upload image text, and if I click on that text I am getting this pop-up. So we just need to style it. Now select the product image element and set its background to a white color and give it a width, let's say 100%. And yeah, now select the image upload label, which is image upload container, and give it a width 60% and set its position to relative and set its height to 600 pixels, a fixed height. Okay, now we need to style the label element. So select the upload overlay, which is our label, and set its position to absolute, so it will be over our image element, and set its top left to 0. Give it width 100% and height 100%, so it will cover the whole product image area. And give it a background color, but use RGBA here to give it a background black with the opacity, and set its cursor to pointer for the hand cursor, and display flex to align the text in the center. Yeah, you can see the upload image in the center, and if I click on this overlay I'm getting the pop-up. Very great. Give it a color white, so the text will be white in color, and set its font size to 2 rem or whatever you like, and give its font family to Lato sans serifs, and set its text transform to capitalize. Yeah, great. But we needed the upload image text to show when we hover it. So set its opacity to 0, set transition to 0.5 seconds, and now select the upload overlay and say when we hover it, set its opacity back to 1 using the hover selector. So if I hover the label, you can see I'm getting it. Yeah, so it's great. So I guess we are done with the product image also. So now add the disable class in front of these ratings and btn containers. This disable class we will use to make the element disable, and for in the price give content editable true, so it will allow you to edit the content. And also give it data placeholder and a text inside. So data placeholder will act as a placeholder, a fake placeholder for this element, Data placeholder is a custom attribute which we are creating right now, and we will make this element as an input using this data placeholder and content editable. So copy these two attributes all over the elements, to all the elements where we need it editable, and add disable class to those elements where we want them to disable. So you can see I am able to edit the elements, right? I hope you understood. So in CSS, select the product details section or element and set its width to 60%. Set its max width to, let's say, 60%. Yeah, set its width and max width to 60% so it will not shrink. And we have added the disable class. So for the disable, set styles to point driven none and set filter to grayscale 1, so it will make it black and white and we can't select them either. Great. Now select the cart btn. I misspelled here, it's cart btn, and give it a background color this because it is little bit darker, so make it little bit lighter. So this is a card btn, not card btn. Let me correct it. And yeah, it's okay. So this is was our disabled class. Now use a star selector and inside a square bracket type content editable true. So this basically will select every element with content editable true attribute, and we want their outline to be none, so set outline to none. Also give it a border, let's say 2 pixels of solid goldish or grayish color, not goldish, grayish, and give it some padding, let's say 10 pixels. It's looking nice. Now copy this star selector and use focus selector. So when we focus over these elements, set their border color to this golden color. So if I click on the elements, you can see I'm getting the golden border. Great. Now add these two attribute also to this description element because we want that to be editable too. Change the placeholder here because it's a description, not a price, so set it whatever you like. I'm setting it details, you can add. And also, yeah, we can add images in our description using an HTML image tag because this is a not a proper an actual input, so we can use a image tag also. Copy this detailed description and paste below and change the section class to tag section. This will be for our tags, and change the section title and also change the class of this two tags. Let me enable the word wrap and delete this whole paragraphs and all that because we don't want these things. After deleting these paras, you can add a simple text, let's say 3 tags at least or whatever you like because it's a sort of placeholder. And also I didn't added the data placeholder for tags. It is the same as the description, but you should or you have to change this because this is tags, not details. After making these all elements, the p element and the tag element, let's style them and let's quickly move on to the JavaScript. So you can see below the details I have tags. we just need to style these tags. So open the CSS file. Here select the description element and set its height to 500 pixels. Set its overflow to scroll, so we will be able to over scroll the overflow. Set its white space to pre-wrap, so it will preserve these spaces. And now select the tags container or tag section. Set their padding to 30 pixels from top left and 5 EW from left and right. Okay, it's not working. I guess the class name is wrong. Yeah, it's wrong. It's tags. Yeah. Now select the tags element. Okay, let's style the text first. So set its font family to Lato sans serif. Set the text transform to capitalize to make the first letter capital, and set its font size to 1.1 RAM. Give it line height also, and set its opacity to, let's say, 0.5, and then select the text. Give it a fixed height, let's say 300 pixels, and set its margin to 20 pixels 0 along with a font family of Lato sans serif. Great. So I guess our form is done. We just need the add product and draft button. So after the all sections, at the very end, make div and give it a class btn wrapper. This will be the wrapper for our two buttons, and make a button inside it. Give it a class product btn. This will be a common class, and then give it a add product btn. This will be a specific class. Make another btn, give it a class, again give it a border product btn which is common, and draft btn which is specific to this btn. And then you can give it a content, say save draft. You can't see it because it is pretty grayish. So first style them. So select the btn wrapper and set their display to flex, and set justify content to center, so it will make the button at the center. And then select the add product btn. Set its text transform to capitalize. Give it a border none, and set its outline to none also. Set its color to, let's say, a white, and give it a background of this golden color. Set its cursor to pointer for the hand cursor, and give it a margin right of 20 pixels. So if I refresh it, you can see the add product button now. Do the same for draft button. Select the draft button and change a background color to a dark gray, and refresh it. So it didn't work, I guess. Yeah, the class name was wrong. So yeah, you can see save draft and add product button. So I think we are done with this page. So now let's write some JavaScript and make this form working. So add these two dots before the product.js, because in the nested routes it will work there. And yeah, open the JS file, and at the very top first select the user from session storage using json.parse session storage.user or null. Well, we did the same in the previous video, so I hope you know what this actually is. Well, basically we are just retrieving the user from session, and then set a window.onload function, and inside it just check user is null or not. If it is null, replace the location to login. So you can see I am logging here, that's why I didn't redirect it to the login page, otherwise I will shortly redirect it. So yeah, after this we want our editable contents to behave like an input. Means we want them to show the placeholder when they are empty and not show the placeholder when they are not. So first select those elements using query selector, and query selector allow you to select the elements using CSS syntax. So yeah, I'm using it using this star content editable true syntax. Once you got the editables, use map function to loop through each editables and select the elements individually. Inside it, select the placeholder attribute, which is get attribute. So get attribute will retrieve the data placeholder attribute from the element and store it inside this placeholder variable. And then set element.innerHTML equals to this placeholder. So basically the element innerHTML is I'm setting equals to the placeholder. So you can see I am getting the placeholder text inside these elements. I guess there is some class name issue, that's why we are getting it smaller. Yeah, so correct the class name and you can see the elements are in right size now. Now add a focus event using add event listener to this element, and when this element get focused, we want to set its inner HTML to nothing. So check for a statement if element.innerHTML equals to the placeholder, which means it's containing the placeholder itself. So if that is the case, set its inner HTML to a blank text. So it will delete all the placeholder if there is nothing. You can see it is working. Now we want our placeholder back when user don't type anything. For that, add focus out event using add event listener, and once the element get focus out, check here for a condition elements.innerHTML.length. Well, element.innerHTML.length will return the length. So this condition simply means when there is no content. So if there is no content, set its inner HTML back to the placeholder. So if we refresh the page and if I focus out, you can see it's working. So I guess it is working like an input. Now we just have to submit the form, right? Great work. So the first thing we want is to the user will able to upload the image, and for uploading image we will use AWS. So open your terminal and first install AWS SDK package. AWS SDK package will allow us to use AWS in our server. So once we install that, you can see in package.json I am having AWS SDK. Great. Now open the server.js file and let's code some backend. So you can import the AWS after this express.json static file. Import the AWS from AWS SDK package, and also we'll need the .env package. Well, .env package will allow you to access environment variables. So install npm i.env. Well, environment variables are a secret sort of variable which you define on your system. Instead of defining in your code, you define it in your system so it stays safe in your system. So once you install the package, import it like this. Change this to double quotes. And now create a .env file in the root folder. So this .env file will store the variables. After this .env config, let's set up the AWS. So for that, first open your AWS console. So go to aws.amazon.com and sign into the console. It will ask you for your email. Go through that and then search for S3. S3 is a online upload bucket. So we use this to upload the images. So create a bucket here. You can give any name here. Select the AWS region. You can select the region nearest to you, and sometime AWS gives error. So if it give you error, make sure you change the region to something else and do the same settings like I am doing, and also remove the block access because we want it to be accessible from all over the place. Once you're done creating the create bucket, open the bucket and go to the permission section. You can see all block accesses are on, off, and then go to the policy generator. First here select S3 bucket because we are dealing with S3. Set its effect to allow because we want to allow. In principle, give it a star, and in actions select two actions. First is get object because we want to retrieve the data from the bucket, and second is put object because we want to upload the image in the bucket. So select these two and then enter the ARN here, which is this ARN code. So copy this and paste this inside this field and then click on add statement. Once you do that, click on generate policy and copy this code and paste this code here. So if I click on save changes, you can see I am getting an error. If you see this error, put a /* after this resources. So once I do that and click on save changes, great. Now we need to edit our codes. Courses basically allow you to talk through different origins. So code your code like this, or you can download this from the description also. Set its allowed header to * so it will allow all requests, and set its allowed method to head, put, and get, so it will allow you to get request, put request, or head request. And then set allowed origins to * so it will allow all the web origins. And at last set exposed header to nothing. You can copy this code from the description also if you like, or you can code it. Once you are done with that, click on save changes and you'll be good. So we are done with the AWS setup. We just need to connect it to our server. So let's go to server.js file now. So after importing AWS and .env, now define a region variable. This region will be our bucket region, in which is in my case AP South 1 for Mumbai. So store your bucket region here, and after region make a variable for bucket and store your bucket name here. In this case we have ecom website 4. After this we need two API keys, so make a variable called access key and the other we need is secret key. Now this keyword is the key actually, and we will store this key in .env file, and to access the variable from .env file we use something like this. We say process.env and then the variable name, which is process.env.aws secret key and access key. And by the way, we will create these variables in .env file, so don't worry about it. So copy this AWS secret key and paste it inside .env, and copy this AWS access key, also paste it inside .env file. Set an equals to here, and without spaces we have to add the key after the equal. So from where do you get this key? Let's check it out. So go to your AWS console and go to your profile section. Here you can see a modern web, and then click on security credentials. Once the page is open, you can see the access keys. If you click on it, you'll see all the access key you have, and you'll see an option to create a new access key. If it is disabled, you can delete or inactive any access key and then create a new one. Once you create that, you will get two keys, an access key and a secret key. Copy those keys and paste inside the .env file, and you'll good to go. So after pasting the keys inside .env file, we need to make the AWS. For that, call aws.config.update, and this update function basically takes three params: the region and the two keys. So pass those things and it will set up your AWS. So after setting up the AWS, we need to access the S3 bucket. So for that, make an S3 variable and use a new constructor to make an AWS S3 class. And this S3 is what we will use to upload the image. So now make a function which basically generate an image URL. So basically how our upload will work is, we'll make a request on S3 URL link and it will give us an image URL, and then we will upload the image to that URL, and then we set that URL to our backend Firebase. So inside this function, basically make a date variable and then make a image name variable which will be date.getTime, and then at last .jpeg because we want it to be at JPG format. And then you can make a params variable. This params will be the bucket parameter, so set its bucket to the bucket name. These params are for our bucket, so our bucket know what he actually have to do. So yeah, set the key to image name, so it will store the file in that name. Set expires to 300, so the link will expire after 300 milliseconds. And then set its content type to image/jpg, so it will know that it is an image. After this params, just create a upload URL variable and use await. Since the function is asynchronous, use await, and then s3.getSigned URL promise. get signed URL promise function will return the URL, and inside it just pass put object because we want to put the image to that link and pass the params, and at last return the upload URL. So this is our generate URL function, which basically will return the URL so that we can upload an image. And now you can create a S3 URL get route, and in response send the upload URL by calling generate URL. So since our generate URL is sort of promise, we will use .then to respond it, and once we get the URL we will send the URL in the response. So if I go to my S3 URL route, I should see a link. Let's check it out. Okay, I'm getting an error. Why is that? Because generate URL is a function and I didn't call it. So let me call it. Great, if I refresh it, now you can see I'm getting a long link. So this is the link where we upload the image, and this is a unique link every time, which expires after 3 milliseconds. So inside add product.js, let's make the upload button. So first select the upload input using, of course, document.query selector. So upload image is our ID name, so select it using document.query selector. And make a image path variable. This image path will be the path of our uploaded image. Well, basically set it to our no image png. This will be the default png if the image the user will not upload an image. And then add a change event listener to upload event, so whenever it gets an image it will call this event, and inside this event first select the uploaded file. To select uploaded file you can say upload input.files, and files will return the array, and select the first element using 0 index. Then define a image URL variable, and then check a condition whether our file type is image or not, because we only want images to store on our database. Great. So in this function, if it is an image, make a request to S3 URL and use .then to cache the response. Convert that response into JSON, and once we got the URL, make a put request. First of all, let's check it out whether we are getting the URL or not. So if I open my console and upload an image, yes, you can see I'm getting this long URL. Great. So inside this, once we get the URL, make a put request to this URL because we want to put or upload the image, and set its headers to new header, and set its content type to multi-part /form data. Make sure you code this part exactly same because this is case sensitive. And in body send file, which is our image, and then use .then to cache the response. And once we get the response, set our image path, which is the path of our image, equals to the URL of the image, and split it using the question mark because it is very long, but we only need the first part of it before the question mark. You can see before question mark it is .jpeg. We need that much part only. Great. So I guess this is it. Now we want to set the image so our user will know yes, the image is uploaded. So select the product image element here using query selector. Copy this class name and paste it here, and then set product image dot src equals to this image path. So once our image is uploaded, we will see the image on the front end. So if I upload an image, let's say this one, and yeah, you can see the image here, which means it is uploaded to our S3 bucket. And if I refresh the page, you can see this .jpeg file here. Great work. Now we need to store this data to our Firebase. So now we have to store the data in our Firebase. For that, first select all the input elements. Let's start with the add product button. So select it using document.query selector and pass the class name inside the query selector as usual. And do the same to select all the input elements and loader element, everything. So once you are done selecting all the elements, product name, short description, price, detail, text, everything, then add a click event listener to add product button. So basically whenever the product button get clicked, perform a form submission. Before submitting a form, we will perform a submission verification. So inside it here we will use if and else to check for conditions, and it is basically is just checking the elements in an HTML is equals to their placeholder or what. So the condition is like this: product name dot inner HTML is equals to product name dot get attribute data placeholder. Well, get attribute data placeholder will return the placeholder value, and if it is equals to inner HTML, which means user didn't type anything, in that case we want to show a error, so called show form error. Well, we already made this function in the last video. So yeah, if I click on add product, I didn't got anything because the first thing is I messed up in selecting product name. I guess the class name is wrong, so let's check it. Yeah, the class name is product title and I have given product name. So copy this product title and paste it here, and if I refresh it and again click on a, okay, I am getting show form error is not defined because I have made it inside common.js. We have to import this common.js file inside this add product.html file. So quickly import it and hopefully we will see error, and I click on it. I didn't got the error, not in console, not in the front end. Why is that? Because it is not showing up. So open the add product.css file and select the dot error here, and basically style it show state and set its opacity to 1. at show state. And also let's modify the show form error a little bit. Inside this function, make a set timeout of 2000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds we want to hide the error element. So inside this set timeout, just remove the show class list, which is the show class. So if I click on it, I'm getting the pop-up error. Great. So do the same for all the elements, just basically compare their inner HTML to their placeholder. It is that simple. By the way, if you find it difficult to follow, or if you are stuck somewhere, if you get any error, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll be glad to help you. You can also ask me in my Discord server. So after done with this form verification, add a else condition at last, which means everything is fine. So let's check the conditions and verification last time. Okay, I'm getting errors. Again, the class name is wrong here. It is product dash description, not product dot description. So let me correct it. And let's recheck the verification. Okay, it's working. So our verification for each field is working. Great. Now we just have to submit it to our backend and store it to our Firebase. So in the else blocks where everything is fine, set loader display property to block, which means show the loader element, and then make a data variable and set it equals to product data function. Well, product data function will return a structured data object which we will pass to our server. So make a product data function, and inside it let's simply first make a tag array variable. So tags array will be the array of our tags. So set it equals to the tags element, which is this element, and set it equals to tags dot inner text. Why inner text? Because maybe user has typed the HTML code and inner text will only give me the text. So inner text dot split comma will split the text from comma. After that, use for each to loop through each tags, and inside the loop just trim it using tag arrays index of I dot trim. So dot trim will remove the spaces from a front, beginning and end of the string, and also use two lowercase to make the text to lower, because we don't want it to be uppercase or lowercase or capitalized. We want it to be always lowercase. Once you do, or once you style the tag, just return this object, which is name, short description, detail, everything structured in an object form. So here make name, which is equals to product name dot inner text. Basically select here inner text instead of inner HTML, because we want a text, not HTML code. I hope you are getting this thing, because this is easy JavaScript. For tags, pass tags array, which we have just created, and for images, pass this image path, which is the global variable r, and set its email to json.parse session storage.user, so it will access the user from session storage and then accesses email, and also set its draft to false. So this product data function is done. This basically will return the structured data object, and then once we got the data, we just need to send it to the backend. So call the send data function, and again send data function is the function we have made in the past video. So yeah, and just make a request to add product route. So we don't have add product route in our server, so make us add product post route inside server.js file, and make a request and response parameters, and inside this post request, first access all the request parameters. So to access all the request parameters, make a let variable, and inside the curly parentheses pass all the variables name. These names are exactly same to the data we are receiving, and set them equals to request.body. So these all variable names are exactly same to the structured data object what we are getting from the front end. Now you can copy the verification code and paste it here, because we want to perform the verification or validation in our server also. And remove this inner HTML and set it to name.length, short description.length. So just change it to length and add an exclamation in front. This condition simply means it contains something. So quickly change the validation conditions here. So once you are done with that, since this is our server, we don't have show form error function, so delete it and set it response.json and send alert in response. So instead of showing the form error, this is our server, so we are sending an alert in response. Great. And also add a else block here, or you can just leave it, and just after all the conditions we have to store the data to our Firebase. So to store the data to our Firebase, the first thing we need is document name, and we will make the document name according to the product name. So set doc name equals to name, and first of all lowercase it using two lowercase, and then add a dash and then set its math.floor. Well, math.floor will round off the number inside it, which is math.random multiply 5 or 50,000. So this will basically give you a random number, and we will attach that random number to our product name, and then make a variable for product and products. This will be our collection variable, so set it equals to collection, the db, and the product collection. So once we get the collection and the doc name, just set the document by calling setDoc function. Inside this function, pass this doc, which because we want to access the document, and inside this doc just pass the collection and the document name, and the second parameter should be the data, which is our request or body, and then use dot then to respond to the data, and in this case just send a product with name in response. It is very simple. It is the same as we did for login and sign up in the past videos, so there is nothing new here. And also you can add a catch block to catch or respond to the errors. You can see I am sending an alert in response if we get any error. So I think it is done, so let's quickly check it. Let me upload an image, and let me fill this form quickly. And if I clicked on add product, I didn't got anything because, well, actually I didn't reacted to the received data. So yeah, open the process data, which is inside a comment.js, and first of all add an else if condition here, which is data.product. So if our received data contains a product which is here, so in that case we wanted to redirect the user to our dashboard page or dashboard route. So simply set its location to dashboard. So if I again fill the form quickly and submit it, I should be redirected to dashboard page and I should see the data in my Firebase. So let's check it out. Okay, you can see I am redirected to the dashboard, and if I open my Firebase console, let's me quickly open it. So in this Firestore database, you can see I have the products collection, and inside it I have two products which I just added using front end. Okay, great. We just need the products to shown in our dashboard, right? So I guess we are done with the add product page because we have successfully added it to our backend. So yeah, we need to make our dashboard page now. So open a dashboard.html file and also open dashboard.css because for product card stylings, and open dashboard.js. Now inside this .html file, after add product, make an image element and set its source to no product.png. This will be the image when we don't have any product. And after this, make a section element, give it a class, let's say seller products. So this will be the container for the product cards, and inside it make a div, give it a class product container, and this container will contain all the product cards. So you can open index.html file and you can copy this product card element from here, because this will be the same. So paste it here, and if I refresh the page, you can see the no products image and the card. Also add the style.css file, because the card styles are inside the style.css file. Great. So open the dashboard.css file and let's style some elements now. So select seller.product and set its margin to, let's say, 30 pixels from top. And after that you can select product container, give it some styling to it, and set its display to flex, let's say, and set flex wrap to wrap, so this will make it little responsive. And set justify content to space flex start, not center. Set it to flex start and give it a gap of 20 pixels, where gap will make a gap between the product cards. Okay, it is looking nice. Now select the product card element, give it a width of 100% with some max width, let's say 300 pixels. So if I refresh it, nothing changed. Great. Okay, now what we have to do, add a class to this no product image so that we can style it in our CSS. So for now just hide it, we will style this no image later. So just select the no product image and set it display to flex, sorry, display to none, just simply. Now inside this product card, make a button element and give it a class btn, and also give it a specific class which is added btn specific to this button. Inside it, make an image and give it a source of edit.png. So these button we will use as an interaction. So make two buttons more and change their class name to open and delete btn. And if I refresh it, you can see 3 buttons above the image. Now let's style them. So select the btn element and set their position to absolute, so it will be over the image. Set its z index to, let's say, 3, so it will be over the image and will visible. Set its top to 10 pixels, right to 10 pixels, and give it a border of none. Also give its outline to none, so it will remove the chrome default outline. Set its width to, let's say, 40 pixels along with the height of 40 pixels, and then set its border radius to 50% to make it perfect circle, and give it a background of this golden color. And if I refresh it, you can see the delete button. Well, all our 3 buttons are on top of each other, so select the buttons individually. The first thing we want is, we want them to show when we hover the card, so set their default opacity to 0 and pointer events to none. Well, pointer event none will remove the mouse interactions. And once the product card get hover, set their opacity back to 1 along with the pointer event all. So you can see I'm getting the button when I am hovering the card. Great. Now select the open btn individually and set its top to, let's say, 60 pixels. Change it to 60, and then select the delete button and set it top to 110 pixels. And if I refresh it, again refresh it, and yeah, now we just need to make the images little bit small. So select the btn image and set their width to 20 pixels and set the display to block. Give it margin to auto. Well, margin auto will align the image in the center. Great. So we are almost done with our styling. So open add product.html and copy this loader element from here, because of course we will need this loader in our dashboard. And also open add product.css file and copy this loader styles and paste it inside the dashboard CSS file. Now just simply open dashboard.js file and let's retrieve the data from Firebase now. Okay, before doing that, let's style our no product element now. So this is right now over our card, but we want it to be at the center of the screen, so set its position to absolute, give it top left to 50% and use transform property to make it perfectly at the center, and then set its fit to, let's say, 40%, and yeah, I guess it's good. Now just set its display back to none because we don't want it to show. Now you can comment this product card element also, because we will create it dynamically from the JavaScript. So yeah, open the dashboard.js file now, and after these validations here, select the loader element first using query select, of course, and also select the no product image element using query selector. Once you are done selecting these two elements, set loader.style.display to block, so basically just show the loader. Great. Now our loader is showing. Now we just have to request to our server so that we can get the data from our server, and then we will make the cards. So for that, make a function, call it setup product, and at last call this setup product function. This setup product will basically make a request to a server to get the product data. So make a request to get products route, which is not exist right now, we will create it later, and set its method to post, because we will send the user email to our server. Set its headers to new header, content type application/JSON, because it's a simple JSON text, and in body send json.stringify, and inside it pass email, which is our user.email, and we have declared the user at the top so we can access it, and then use then to respond to the data, convert it into JSON, and use again then. Once we get the data, let's say console it. First let's hide the loader using display equal none by setting up its display to none. So let's make the get product route. For that, make a post route here, and inside this, first select the email from the request parameter using request.body, and then make a product collection, which is collection, and inside it pass database and products. So basically this is, we are selecting the product collection, and then make a docref variable. This docref will be the document name, so define it at the top and then set it equals to this. Well, get docs will get the document from the Firebase, and inside it query will run a query to get it, and in this query first pass the collection, which is our products, and the second is a where statement So where is a sort of condition, and here I am passing out email equals to email, which means a simple plain text email is equals to this given email. So this is a way to run a query in this Firebase version 9, I guess, and then use dot then to get the product, and then use this if condition to check whether it's empty or not. If it is empty, which means user don't have any product, so in that case return no products in response. And if a user have a product, do these things: make a product array and loop through the products item using for each, and access individual product item and push this individually to the product array using products array dot push and data. So do these things. This is not that hard to understand, but if you are a beginner, you can or you may find it little bit difficult, but if you do watch it 2 or 3 times, you will get it. And at the very last, just send the product array in response. So this is our get product post route basically. So in our front end we have code this much, and after once we set the display to none, we can console log the data to see whether we get it or not. So if I refresh the page and check it, okay, I'm getting error. Let's see why is that. Okay, it's saying query is not defined. Why? Because query is a Firebase function, and for us to use it we have to import it. So add a query here, and also where also, because we have used the where statement. So if I refresh the page, and now you can see I'm getting a array of 2 objects, which means I have 2 product cards. So we just need to create a card in our front end now because we have the data. So first check here whether our data is an array or it's a plain text, and if it is equals to no product, which means there is no product, just set our no product image style.display to block, basically show it. Or if our data is an array, use for each to loop through our data and select individual product and pass that product data to create product function. Well, this function we will create next. So for this, make a create product.js file inside our JS folder, and this create product.js file will contain the create product function and some other functions. So import it inside dashboard.html file, and let's open the JS file. Inside it, make the create product function and define the data parameter. Inside this, first select the product container using document.query selector, of course. So pass the product container class name from here for here, and use .inner.html to make card inside this. So basically just copy this product card and paste it here. So this will add the product card inside our product container. Now since we are using template string, we can add the product name and source of image using $. You can see we have tags parameter, tags key in our object, so that's why I'm using data.tags. For our image, set it to $, in curly parentheses set data.image, so it will access the image of that data. And if I refresh the page, you can see I'm getting the product cards, the name, the image, everything. Now we just need to make these buttons functional. So for our added button, add a click event to it. So do the same as we do for our HTML, add on click attribute to our added button, and inside it just set its location.href, which is to redirect a user. We use location.href, so set it to slash add product slash data.id. So basically this will redirect the user to the add product page with the product id itself. And do the same for open btn, but instead of redirecting it to the add product, redirect user to the product route. Now if I refresh the page and click on the edit button, I'm getting this for a 4 page because the route do not exist right now, which mean it is working. We just need to make the route, which we will do later. For delete button, make a on click event, and inside this just call delete item function, and inside delete item function pass data id. Now let's create this delete item function. So create it below and pass the id parameter here. Inside this function just use fetch to make a request to delete product route, and set its method to post because we will sending the product id to the server. Set its header to, as usual, new headers content type application JSON. And set its body to id object. So I hope this all makes sense to you. This is simple JS, and then use then to catch the response and then respond to the received data. Here for now we have to, well, basically we have to process the data here. So let's make the delete route now. So go to the very bottom of your server.js before the 404 route and make a post delete product route here. Inside this select the id from request.body, and once we get the id from the request, call the delete doc function, which is a Firebase function, and delete doc will delete the document. Inside it pass the document function, and the document first parameter will be the collection, which is our products collection, and the second parameter of our document is the product or document id, which is id itself. So after that, calling .then will be a response. So in this send a success in response, or if we get any error, use catch block to catch that, and then send error in response. So this code will basically delete the document from our Firebase. So since we are sending success and error to our front end, let's make conditions for that in our front end before checking it. So copy the success word, and let's add a if condition here saying if data is equals to success. So if it is equals to success, which means our data is deleted, so we can reload the page. And if it is something else, we can show an alert. So call show alert function and type whatever you like here. This will show a pop-up alert. So I guess we are done with this delete item, so let's check it. If I refresh the page and click on delete, you can see it is deleted. And if I click on the open and edit buttons, I am getting 404 page. So let's fix this. So copy this add product code and paste it below, and after this add product add a slash colon id. So colon id is a variable in server express.js, so this basically means anything after slash. So you saw we got the product, but we didn't got the styles. Why? Because it was not able to locate it. So adding dot double dot slash will help us locating the files. So add dot dot slash at beginning of every source, as I am adding for images, CSS files and JavaScript here. So if I click on the edit page, now you can see I am getting the edit page. Great, now we have to make it editable. So open the add product.js file and let's retrieve the product data from the Firebase now. So here make a product id variable, set it to null for now, and then check for a condition saying it if location.pathname is not equals to slash add product. Well, location.pathname will return the path name of our route. If I console log it, you can see the path name is add product slash the product id, and if I go simple to the add product route, you can see I am simply getting add product. So basically, if our location path name is not equals to add product, it's mean it is having some product id in it. In that case, we want that product id, so set that id equals to product id. So this way we will get the product id from our address bar. Once we get the product id, call fetch product data function. Fetch product data will fetch the data from the server. So make this function, and inside this function use fetch, or first of all set add product btn inner html to save product, because now we are saving a product instead of adding it. Now use fetch to make a request to get products route, set its method to post, and set its header to content type application slash json, everything the same we do. In body, just send the id equals to product id. We don't need the email because our id is already unique. And then use then block to catch the response and react to the response. So once we got the data from our server, first let's console log it so we can see we are getting it or not. Use catch to respond to any errors if occur. And yeah, now our get product is basically designed for emails, but for now we have to design it for IDs also. So make a ID variable, define it here, and then add a condition checking whether we have ID or email. If we have ID, change the docref to something else, and if we have email, change it to something else. So inside this condition, change set docref equals to get doc. Make sure it is get doc, not docs. And inside this code, this. So this is basically just getting a document of that id, and if we don't have an id, we will set the document ref, which is the document name, to this. So if I refresh it and check the console, okay, I'm getting error. Make this function above the product id, or you can cut the product id segment from here and paste it at the end. And if I refresh it and okay, I am getting error to fail to fetch. Yeah, it is saying for each is not allowed. Why? Because we have only one document, since we are accessing it using id. So let's check for that too. Add a condition here checking we have a id or not. If we have a id, just send the product in return. So adding a return key before the JSON will end this condition or function here. So we basically don't need the other parts in else blocks, but if you like, you can code them inside the else block. So if I refresh the page now, you can see I'm getting the data of our product. Now we just have to simply set it to our elements, inputs elements. So yeah, inside here, instead of console logging it, call set form data function and pass the data inside it. So basically set form data function will set the elements data. So make a set form data function now, and inside it select all these input elements which we have declared at the top, these product name, short description, all these elements. So access those elements here and set their inner HTML equals to the respective data we want. So if I set it equals to data.name, you can see I'm getting a wall lamp. If I set short description dot inner HTML equals to data dot the short description, if we'll get this short description. So do the same for all the elements.
Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must come.
And you can see we are done. We are getting the data and we are successfully setting the data. Now we have to just set the image. For that, select the product image element using query selector, of course. Pass the product image class name here, which is product img. And then set product image.src equals to the image path, and set those equals to the data.image. So basically we are setting image path and the image source, both two equals to data.image. I'm not getting it because the class name is wrong here. It is product.img, not product image. So let me correct it. And if I refresh the page, yes, I am getting the image, I am getting the data. I guess it's done. So let me quickly change the image and save it, and you can see it created a new product instead of updating the product. Why is that? Because it is creating a new ID for the product. So to fix it, we have to define it. When we update a product, it don't have to create a ID, we have to make it. So inside here, after product data, make a condition checking whether we have a product ID or not. So if we already have a product ID, set data.id equals to that product ID. So if we do have a product ID, we will not generate a new product ID in our backend. So once we send this product ID to our backend, access it first of all from the top, and then where we are setting up the document name, we will use tertiary operator here. Well, tertiary operator is just a single line if else condition. So I'm just checking out if id is equals to undefined, means we don't have a predefined id. Then simply set it equals to this unique id, and after the colon it is the else condition, which is set the id. So I hope you all know the tertiary condition, but if you don't know, the text before question mark is a condition, and after the question mark is our if and else doing things. So yeah, you can see the update is working fine, and if I change the tag here to, let's say, wall light, and save the product and again check it, you can see I'm getting those tags. So yeah, now we have to make a save draft button functional. Let's make it now. So our save draft will basically work as our same as our add product, but instead of validating the form, it will just simply save the data to our backend. So first of all, select the draft button using query selector, and once we get the draft button, add click event to it using add event listener, and inside it, well, we don't want to validate the form, but at least we will validate its name because we need its name to generate a unique id. Yeah, so at least validate the product name. So you can copy this condition and paste it there also if you like. And inside the condition you can show the error using show form error function. And after that, add a else block, which will be when we have a product name, we don't want to verify it or validate the form, so just simply get the data, structured data, by calling product data function, which is this function, and you can copy this. Now set the loader.style.display to block to make the loader visible, and also set the data draft to true because by default the product data function will return a false, but it is a draft, so set it true. And you can copy and paste these conditions and send data here. So if I give a name here and click on draft, hopefully it should, well, on clicking on add it is giving error, and save draft is also giving error. Why is that? Because we are performing form validation in our backend. We are not performing it in our front end, but we are performing it at our backend. So to fix it, we have to add a condition there, right? So open server.js file. Let me restart the server first. Yeah, so open server.js file, and cut these conditions and make a condition saying if draft is true, while adding a false will adding an exclamation before the draft will make the condition reversible, and inside it paste the conditions. So that basically means if draft is false. So yeah, you can see my draft is saved now, and if I click on delete, it is able to delete. So our draft is done, our edit is done, our delete dashboard, everything is done. Now we just have to create the dynamic product page. For that, open the server.js file and go at the very bottom, and let's make the product route, shall we? So make a get route for our product, and Also add /:id, so it will make anything after the follow after the slash, and in response just send the product.html file. It is exactly the same as we do for our other HTML files. Now I click on the button and you can see I am getting the page, but still I'm not getting the styles. Why is that? Because it is not able to locate the file. So open product.html file and add double dot slash to each and every sources. So let me quickly add it to our JavaScript and CSS files. You can see the styles, but still the star images are not getting. So let me do it quickly for the star images also, and let me add the nav.js file also, which is our dynamic nav part. Since we have added the JS part, we can delete the static nav code. Add double dot slash at the beginning of image source, so it will be visible in our page. You can see we got the image, right? Do the same for star images also. So our images are done, or it is good, but our navbar is not good. You can see it is not visible, right? Why is that? Because it is clashing with our CSS. So instead of bg class, add dark class here and open the style.css file and add navbar.dark here also. So basically bg classes we are adding and removing it from the navbar, but dark classes basically will stay forever, so it will not remove the styles. It is still not working because we have to add it on the other part also. So add it here also, saying navbar.dark space dot link to style the link element. And now if I refresh the page, you can see it is working. Great. Now we have to just set the data. We have to retrieve the data from the Firebase and then set it to our front end. For that, let's write some JS. So open product.js file and select the elements here. So first of all, go to your add product.js and copy this product ID part and paste it here so that we can retrieve the product ID from the address bar. And once we get the product ID, make a fetch product data function, and this function will exactly do the same thing, will fetch the data from the database. So you can copy and paste this thing here, and instead inside the cache block, instead of just console logging the error, let's make it more functional. First console log the error and alert the user that there is no such product, and after that we can redirect the user to 404 page. so in that case you know that there is no page, right? So I hope this will work exactly the same. So now we just have to create the set data function, so you can rename the set from data to set data and create the set data function. This set data function will set the elements HTML or content. So first of all, select all the elements using document.query selector. Select the product name, short description, price, tags, descriptions, elements.
Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still. Hanging in the balance, not the life I want to live. I want to take it all, standing tall. Fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding on.
Also select the HTML title element because we want to make the page title to be dynamic one. Once done selecting all the elements inside the set data function, we can set each element's dot inner HTML equals to the respective data. So since we are getting the data, we have to make a data the argument one. And if I refresh the page, you can see I have successfully set up the data. Do the same thing for all the elements. Set individually all the elements inner HTML equals to the respective data. And you can see it's working fine. The only thing is our image is looking little bit bigger, so I guess it's a style issue, so let's fix it. For that, open product.css file and let's find out where is our image. Well, inside this description element styles, set its white space to pre-wrap to preserve these spaces, and then yeah, find out the product image. Yes, we got the product image, I guess. Yeah, here it is. Set its width to 50% and yeah, it is looking nice now. So it is done. We need to just make a product slider now. So yes, we need to make a product slider now. So after this set data function, make a call another function which is get product function, and this get product function will basically return the data related to tags. So inside here just pass the first tag of our product, and we will make this function inside home.js file. So import that file inside product.html file too, and then open the home.js file and let's make the get product function. So make a get products function, and since it is getting the tags, make the tags parameter or argument here, and then inside this function return this fetch statement, return this fetch promise, and make a get post request to the get product routes. Set the headers to, as usual, content type application JSON, and in body send tag object. And once we get the data, return it by simply return keyword. So basically this whole function will return the fetch data promise, and then we will use it to make the product card. So open server.js, and still our get product route is not designed for tags, so add a tag key here and add a condition for tags here now. So add a else if, and inside it pass tag, which means if we do have a id, set docref to this. If we don't have id, we do have a tag, set it equals to this get docs query, and inside the query write tags contain array this. So this is just a Firebase thing. This is just a Firebase thing. Array contains basically means our tags array contains this tag key or not. So this conditions is to just check for tag id and email and everything. So I think it's good to go now. Since we are getting the promise here, we need a then function here. So call the then function, and inside it, once we get the response, call create product card function. Create product card, as the name suggests, it will create the card, and it will take three parameters. The first is the data, second the title, and the third is the class of the section where it need to attach. So you can see it is best selling product section, so copy this class name, and since it is class, we are adding a dot at the beginning. And you can comment this whole code for now because we will create it dynamically. We will create the container and the h1 element from the JS. So yeah, comment it and copy this create product card and go to home.js file. Let's create it now. So make three arguments here. The first one is data, and the second one is the title of our h1, and the third one is the element itself. Now inside it, first select the element or the container. So make a container variable and set it equals to the document.query selector, the element. So basically it will allow us to get the element, and then set the container's inner HTML equals to, or use plus equals to, because we don't want it to change it. Right, copy this element and paste it here. So it will create the h1 element and a product container dev, and inside the h1 element pass this title variable. Great. Delete this product card and call create cards function and pass the data here. Well, create card function will return the text, will return the product card in a plain text. So make a create card function, and since it is getting the data, make a data argument, and inside it make a variable called cards. Make it a simple string, empty string, and then use for each to loop through the data. Select individual items, and inside it set our cards to plus equals to this product HTML. So copy this product HTML and paste it here. So it will basically, what will do is it will loop through each data and it will attach this HTML code to our cards variable. Now change the image source and the p, the name of our product. Also add a on click event to it, and inside that set it to location.href equals to products slash data id. So whenever we click on the card, it will redirect us to the official its product page, and then at last return the cards at last the function. So if our code is right and if I code it right, we should see the cards right, we can see the card, so it's working. But I'm getting the same product, right? We don't want it to show the same product in our recommendation. So for that, cut this code and code a condition here saying if item id is not equals to the product id, then only make this card, otherwise you don't need to make the card. And if I refresh it, I'm not getting any product because we don't have any product in our database right now. So yeah, our code is working pretty fine. So let me quickly add more product card, and now you can see I'm getting a similar product recommendation since I have added one more card or one more product to it. So good job, we are done with our product page also, we are done with our dashboard also, and everything we are done with it. Now we just have to create the search page. So for our search page, first we need is a search input box, which we don't have in our nav.js file. So open the nav.js file and let's create the search input. So open index.html file. Since we need to make a HTML navbar input and we have to style it, for now let's code it inside index.html file and then we will paste it inside nav.js file. So copy this UL elements and paste it right here, and for now you can comment the nav.js file because we want to style the elements, so it will be little easier for us to code it in the HTML file, right? So inside the user interactions div, make a div element and give it a class, let's say search box, and inside the search box make an input for our search, give it a class search and give it a placeholder, let's say search item, and also make a button element, give it a class search btn. This will be the button for our search, and inside it make an image, give it a source of search.png, and yeah, that is it. So you can see the button, you can see the input box, we just need to style these elements now. So you can cut this nav code here and update this nav.innerhtml right here, paste that code here. So now we have the search box also in our navbar. So now you can uncomment the nav.js file, and still we got the same result because we didn't style, right? So open style.css and let's style the search box. So select the search box element here, and let's say set its position to relative, give it a width of let's say 350 pixels along with a height of 70 pixels, and yeah, set its overflow to hidden to hide the overflow, give its display to flex, set align item center, and give it some gap, let's say 10 pixels, set its right margin to 30 pixels, and it is looking okay. Now select the search input, but first remove this justify content and set its padding left to 5 VW to make the UL elements on the left side. Great. Now select the search element and let's style the search input. So set its width to 100% along with a height of 40 pixels, and you can give a border radius of 30 pixels also with the background none to make it transparent, and set its color to, let's say, 1 pixel solid. Okay, this is not color, this is a border, so set its border to 1 pixel solid white, and after that you can give it a white color along with a padding and text transform everything. So yeah, now select the search button and set its minimum width to 40 pixels and set its height to 40 pixels and give its position to relative. Set its border and outline to none and give it a background of white. Set its border radius to 50% to make it a pure circle, and right now it is not a pure circle. To fix that, select the search btn image. So select the search btn image and set its width to 60% and height to 60%, and also set object width to cover, and if I refresh it, it is a proper circle now. And let me correct the border here along with the set outline to none, and now let's style the placeholder of this. So add navbar.bg.search and navbar.bg.search when it is placeholder. So basically set their color to black here. So whenever our navbar have a bg class, it will set their border color and color to this alpha black color. And if I refresh it, you can see it's working. Copy this search placeholder and set its default color to white, and if I refresh it, yeah, it is white now. Let me correct this color property to border, and yeah, our search button and input is done. Now we just have to write JS, which is gonna be amazing. So open nav.js file, and here select the search input and search box element using, of course, what, the query selector. So define a search btn variable and set it equals to document.querySelector, and inside it pass search btn class. Do the same for search box. And add a click event to search btn. So whenever we get a click on search btn, okay, I am mistyping. So basically whenever we get a click on search btn, we want to check for a condition, which is whether a search box value has a length or not. If it has a length, means it has something, then we want to redirect user to the search page or search route. So set location.href to equals to search slash the search box dot value. Isn't it that simple? So I am getting this 404 page because I don't have a search route. So basically it is working. Now let's make the search route. For that, open the server.js file and let's make the search route. Let me quickly open the search server.js file. But before that, let me make the 404 pages navbar a dynamic one. So let me import the nav.js file, and yeah, it is getting the search box here. Very great. Now let me open the server.js file, go at the very end and make a get search route here, make a key param, and in the response send the search.html file. You can copy and paste the product.html file line also, and if I search again, I'm getting the search page. Again, I am not getting the styles and the images because a server is not able to locate it. To fix it, you know what you have to do is you have to add the double dot at slash at the beginning of every source link, right? So for now you can delete all these cards, and you can also comment the code. But before that, let me fix the CSS styles. If I refresh it, yep, it is working. Let me make the navbar a dynamic one. Import the nav.js file to make the navbar dynamic, and also import the home.js and search.js. Why home.js? Because we have create product card function inside it. So comment this HTML tags, and you can comment this product container also. We just need this search listing section. So copy this. First of all, inside the server.js, first of all we need to access the key from the address bar, and you know that how you can do that, right? So for that, make a search key variable and set it equals to this. This basically decode the path name of the address bar. And once we get the search key, call the get product function and pass the search key inside it. It is the same as we did just before for the tags, and then use then block to respond to the received data, and inside it just call the create product cards function and pass the three parameters here. The first one is data, the second one is the title or the text, which is our search key in this case, and the third one is the element, which is the search listing element. So if I do refresh the page now, I didn't got anything because I don't have any product with the light tag, right? I am getting the error because of that. We will fix this error in the next video, but for now we will be just seeing the product page or the search page for the product that exists, right? So in the home.js file, to fix that error, make product id equals to null, because basically it do not have a product id. So set it equals to null. You can see we got the lights product. Great, we just need to change the styles little bit. So open the search.css file, and let me find out where the element is. Okay, so it is nowhere. Oh, here the product container, set its justify content to flex start, so it will make the product cards side by side. It's looking good. Also add a gap, let's say of 20 pixels, and yeah, so our search page is also done. We are done with our product page also, and we are done with everything today. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and learned something new. If you stuck somewhere and face any issue, feel free to ask me in the comments, or you can contact me on my Discord server. I will be glad to help you, and you can download the source code from the description. Also, do subscribe the channel and like this video. It will really motivate me. So with that, thanks for watching.